Sims Walker, knocked down.
Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
In trouble. He's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again.
Jackson takes it himself. Look at him dart back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankles.
I have never seen this before in my life.
Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught!
Denver! Unbelievable!
And welcome to the fourth down fiasco!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for all things football, brought to you by BetStamp. BetStamp is the sports bookie of all sports bookies, and there you will find all the big names in the industry, whether if it's BetMGM, Bet365, Caesars, FanDuel, anything you are looking for as far as a sports bookie, they have it there. You can go to signupexpert.com/fiasco, place a $10 bet, because right now I know that there are a couple of different sports bookies that are offering all kinds of additional bets and additional money for you. I believe right now FanDuel is doing a $10, you get $175 in bonus bets. And then there's another one that I'm spacing on right now, but they're giving $200 in bonus bets as well. Since I don't have it in front of me, you are more than welcome to go check out which ones have these deals at signupexpert.com/fiasco. So again, place that $10 bet. And as you listen to today's show, you are more than welcome to potentially take the things that we say, apply it to your bets. We're not responsible if you lose money, but we're always responsible if you win some. So I'm recording this live here on Election Day. As you're listening to this, the election's already happened. So you can't bet on that, but you can bet on football, basketball, tennis, MMA, anything that's in season right now. You can go place a bet on if you go to BetStamp. So that's signupexpert.com/fiasco for the last time. So to dive into the show, we ask, as always, that you rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's the best way for us to grow the show, and we just really appreciate hearing from y'all. It's just me today, just Jordan. I should put the little, it's just Jordan already. It's just Jordan. Yeah, it's just Jordan. Jordan. Y'all remember that show as kids? Well, even if you don't, it's just me today. So no Tanner because he was having Wi-Fi issues, and no Danny because even though this is his pod, somehow me and Tanner have been the ones on it every week for the past 6 weeks. So yeah, glad to have y'all on board. Let's have a very intimate conversation today about potential award outlook for the NFL, as well as some pick'ems for next week. So I'm not going to waste any more of y'all's time. Let's go ahead and dive into the nitty gritty. What I mean by awards, we're talking comeback. Woo, that's pause. Comeback Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and MVP. We're going to do it in that order here. So Comeback Player of the Year, I have it down as Sam Darnold. Tanner and I actually were talking about this before his Wi-Fi cut out. But Sam Darnold, man, the story around him has just been awesome. You know, he was kind of a dead to rights backup in the league. The Jets really kind of ruined his career a little bit, high pick, highly touted, everybody was just so enamored with the arm on Sam Darnold, and then, has a pretty rough stint with the Jets, becomes a journeyman, lands in Minnesota, and Minnesota fans, along with the entire NFL, honestly, thought that Minnesota was completely done this season once J.J. McCarthy went down. But then Sam Darnold stepped in, has looked good, has a almost 70% completion percentage, has thrown for 1,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, has a QBR of 107.8, and Minnesota has a 6-2 record right now. Let me repeat that for the folks in the back who didn't hear that. When their highly touted new rookie quarterback went down and everybody thought that they were going to be a lottery team, the Minnesota Vikings are 6-2 right now. And that's has a lot to do because of Sam Darnold, just how good that he's been. And the defense has been phenomenal in Minnesota as well. So Sam Darnold's not going to be on my MVP list by any stretch of the imagination, but he will most certainly be the comeback player of the year because, again, he is affecting winning. He is doing what is being asked of him, which is playing good, solid, starting quarterback minutes, playing clean games for the most part, and is doing everything that he can to not lose, which goes a long way. That is my dog squeaking a toy in the background. But yes, long story short, I don't know if there is anyone more deserving at this moment in time for comeback player of the year than Sam Darnold. Just because, again, he was kind of written off as a trash quarterback, and here he is. And, he has every right to, potentially be a Pro Bowler this year. Minnesota's probably going to make the playoffs, knock on some wood, as long as they keep going in the direction that they're going in. And it's largely in part because of Sam Darnold saving the Vikings season, which, Vikings fans have some of the worst luck in the league. And the fact that they are here right now, I know that they are on cloud nine. So, comeback player of the year, Sam Darnold. Rookie of the year. There's actually quite a few awards that I'm going to be giving out that, as a Cowboys fan and as a grade A hater of people, is going to really make me sad. But Rookie of the Year, I don't think you can go with anyone other than Jaden Daniels, right? I mean, we're talking 71.5% completion percentage, 1,945 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a QBR of 106.7. I don't see how you can give this to anyone other than Jaden Daniels. I know that they're, at the quarter point of the year, some folks are saying potentially Malik Neighbors. But he has tapered off since his back-to-back big weeks against Cleveland and Dallas. The game against Cleveland, him having 2 touchdowns. The one against Dallas, him racking up 115 yards. I don't see how you can't give it to Jaden Daniels, though. Even with Malik Neighbors' numbers, he has, again, kind of slowed down in the past couple of weeks. And even if he hadn't and he had continued course the way that he was, if you're going to give me a high-performing rookie quarterback or a high-performing rookie wide receiver to choose from, I am always going to choose the high-performing rookie quarterback. And Jaden Daniels has been doing that. The Washington Commanders are looking really good atop of the NFC East right now. They're going to make the playoffs as long as things continue the way that they're going. I won't knock on wood for that one, because I'm a grade A hater. But Jaden Daniels, I am impressed. I have to say, you have my respect. It's been very fun and entertaining to watch you the past couple of weeks. The Hail Mary has been insane. Just all the wins that the Commanders have been just racking up it's been incredible to watch, especially since going into the season. There was a lot of speculation that the Commanders were probably going to be a young, fun, but not good team. That they, we even on this show talked about how they would probably win, 6, 7, maybe 8 games, but they were going to be fun and fast. And they are fun and fast, but they're winning games. So that is a testament to what Dan Campbell's doing over there right now in Washington, and also what rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels is doing. And I have to say, as someone who's in the NFC East right now, I am not looking forward to having to play Jaden Daniels for the next however many, decade plus years. So, offensive player of the year, there are plenty of quarterbacks you could probably toss into this one. I am going to go instead with Derrick Henry. I don't know how you can not put him on here. He has the potential to break 2,000 yards. The Ravens are 6-3, but despite their 0-2 start, Derrick Henry is averaging well over 100 yards per game, looks absolutely dominant. No matter what defense you throw at him, he is going to rack up his yards. He's been an absolute juggernaut in the backfield. And while Saquon Barkley is, I should say, like relatively close to him in total yards, with, I believe he has 956. Derrick Henry has over 1,000 yards already at the halfway point of the season. And again, that 6-3 looks really good, especially considering they have been 6-1 since the 0-2 start. And the Ravens just look scary. They look incredibly dominating. And I would attribute a lot of Lamar Jackson's success, not saying that he isn't a phenomenal player, because obviously he was the MVP of the season last year. Lamar Jackson has looked even better, and it's because the running game for the Ravens has been so dominant. I am a firm believer of an inside-out game, as far as the better you are in the backfield with your running backs, the better your quarterback will perform. I am a staunch believer in that. We're seeing that in Detroit right now. Jared Goff is a potential MVP caliber player because the running game in Detroit is so special. And I think that goes across the board. Part of the reason why my Dallas Cowboys are struggling right now and why Dak does not look good, aside from the injury, is because we can't run worth shit. So again, I have to give all kinds of flowers to Derrick Henry right now because, he looks incredible. He does not look like a 29-year-old running back, and Father Time cannot touch this man. Knocking on wood for that one, because I do like me some Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry, Offensive Player of the Year. That takes us to Defensive Player of the Year. This one was tough. I've got a lot of honorable mentions for this one. I think you've got to go with TJ Watt because of the 4 forced fumbles. He is directly impacting winning to a degree that some of the other linebacker / edge rushing individuals on this list aren't to the same degree. You could say Trey Hendricks, who has 11 sacks. Granted, 4 of them came against the Raiders, but 11 sacks nonetheless. But with a 4-5 record, Cincinnati still, while they look better than they did at the beginning of the year and are finally starting to pick up steam, are still not a particularly great team in my eyes. I do think that there is a chance for them to make the playoffs as a wild card, but I think that just with how good Watt has been and how good Pittsburgh has been, you got to give it to Watt. Dexter Lawrence as well, got to give some flowers his way with 9 sacks. But New York is an absolute dumpster fire year in and year out, and they're just not good, and mainly because of their quarterback. But I think as far as the guy who has the stats as well as has the winning team, it's TJ Watt. And the 4 forced fumbles is so impactful to what Pittsburgh has been doing. And I do want to give 2 more honorable mentions as well to a pair of defensive backs, Xavier McKinney with Green Bay and Kirby Joseph with Detroit, both who have 6 interceptions. They've been balling out, man. It's just so hard to give a Defensive Player of the Year bid to a defensive back. It really is, which sucks because defensive back is probably the hardest position on the field. I will take that to the grave with me. I think that being a defensive back is the hardest position on offense and defense. But I think that even with those interceptions, I think it means a little bit more for McKinney and the Green Bay Packers than it does for Kirby Joseph and Detroit, who Detroit's offense has just been destroying people that even if Kirby Joseph didn't have 6 interceptions, Detroit would still probably be one of the top 3 to 4 scariest teams in this league right now. Xavier McKinney, I think that he probably impacts winning a little bit more directly, and they rely on him just a little bit more. But alas, I'm still giving it to TJ Watt because he's just been an absolute animal. And there's not a whole lot else to say other than, Pittsburgh is I think that their fans are so excited, and I'm speaking on Tanner's behalf and even some of my other Steelers friends right now. They are so excited to have a team that is not only so dominant on the defensive end as they have been in years past, but has good quarterback play, not just competent, but good. You know, I wouldn't say great, but good quarterback play. And something that I know they're very encouraged by is that it doesn't matter if it's Russell Wilson or if it's Justin Fields. They can win football games with either one. And having that depth and having that peace of mind at the quarterback position goes a long way. But that's a completely tangential thing to talk about. TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year in my brain. Coach of the Year. This one hurts. Dan Quinn. I don't think you can give it to anyone other than Dan Quinn. Two honorable mentions. Yes, Dan Campbell with the Detroit Lions, obviously, because they are running and gunning and looking incredible right now. But they've looked good for a couple of years now, so that comes as no surprise to anybody. And then Andy Reid is my other honorable mention, simply for the fact that despite having 1 billion and one injuries, the Chiefs are still undefeated right now, which is insane. Andy has been in his bag all season. But I think you still have to give it to Dan Campbell, simply for the fact that last year the Commanders sucked, and Dan Campbell has come in and completely revolutionized the culture and is atop the NFC East with a rookie quarterback and is kicking people's ass. And that defense is looking as good as it ever has been, and that offense is, chugging along as they need to, and they're winning games, and they're playing tough, hard-nosed football. Dudes are flying across the field, hitting people. Guys are getting jacked up whenever their teammates are hitting people, and it's just a good culture shift. And as a Cowboys fan, that one really hurts because that was our guy. But it makes me happy to see that Dan is doing something good, because DQ was – we shouldn't have ran him off is all I'll say. But, yeah, Coach of the Year, got to give it to DQ. And then last but not least, the MVP race. God, I'm looking at my list of stuff right now, and y'all know, again, as a grade A hater, the only thing on this list that doesn't make me want to vomit is Sam Darnold being the comeback player of the year, because Jaden Daniels being rookie of the year, Washington Commander, ew. Offensive player of the year being Derrick Henry, who all but had a sign screaming saying that he wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. We didn't sign him. Now he's kicking ass over in Baltimore. Defensive Player of the Year being TJ Watt, Steeler. Coach of the Year going to Dan Quinn, who, former defensive coordinator for us last year, and also doing this with the Commanders. Ew. And that takes me to the MVP, which is also going to make me say ill, but I couldn't justify not giving it to this individual. It would be piss poor journalism if I didn't. It has to go to Josh Allen. It has to. It just 2,000 yards through the air, 17 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Something that we've always talked about on this pod is that he is so turnover prone. And this year he's really cleaned it up, and a QBR of 105.8. The Bills they're looking good. They're 6-2, right? Hold on. Give me just a second. Now, this is piss poor journalism, not having this already pulled up. 7-2. Okay, so they're 7-2, and Amari Cooper was out last week, and before that, Amari Cooper wasn't on this team. And so Josh Allen has been playing with a bunch of wide receiver twos. He has, benefited from having better running back play, which, again, I talked about of the better your running back is, the better your quarterback will perform. But, dude, Josh Allen has just been absolutely dynamic and has been working with absolutely nothing all season. And the fact that he's 7-2 and the Bills are, definitely going to make the playoffs and probably make some noise in the playoffs, you got to give it to him. You got to give it to. In my brain, it was between him and Derrick Henry. Figured I'd give Derrick Henry the offensive player of the year just because he is excelling so much as a running back. But it's when you have a high performing quarterback versus a high performing any other position, it's hard not to give it to the high performing quarterback in an MVP situation. And he's directly affecting the winning. So yeah, that is at this point in the season, if we were to end the year right now, this is who I have for the end of season awards. So yeah, one more time, comeback player of the year, Sam Darnold, rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels, offensive player of the year, Derrick Henry, defensive player of the year, TJ Watt, coach of the year, Dan Quinn, MVP, Josh Allen. Pretty solid list. Let me know if y'all are on Spotify, Apple Pods, whatever, as y'all give that 5-star review, because we always appreciate that. It's the best way for us to grow the show. In your review, say who you got. Did I get somebody wrong? Am I overlooking somebody? Did I get it right? I think I got it right, but also I'm kind of biased here. But with that, I am going to go through some pick'ems just real fast. I don't think that we need to spend a ton of time on this, but I figured it would at least be worth the discussion for Week 10. I am pulling up the schedule right now. All righty, so Week 10, kicking it off. Cincinnati, 4-5 Cincinnati at the 6-3 Baltimore Ravens. Since it's in Baltimore, I'm going to go with Baltimore. I do think that... Actually, screw it. Nope, still going with Baltimore. I had a thought for a second, but no. Yeah, I don't see how Cincinnati's defense stops Baltimore. And if it's going to be a shootout, I'm going to choose the team that has Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. You know, if Baltimore scores first, especially, then you're playing the time game, the running the clock game, the hard-nosed football game, and I just think that Baltimore's better built for that. So I'm going to go with Baltimore in that. I'm trying to see which direction these games go. Okay. Then that takes us to the 2-7 New York Giants against the 2-7 Carolina Panthers. I believe this is the international game. Yeah, because it starts at 7:30 my time. Battle of the shit here. I'll give it to New York on this one. Just because I have faith in Malik Neighbors. I think that Carolina is just a dumpster fire organization, even more of a dumpster fire organization than New York is going to be at a neutral site. And if I've learned anything from covering the European League of Football, there aren't a ton of folks who actively watch Carolina. So I think that there will be more New York fans in attendance than Carolina fans. So I'll give a slight home field, even though they're the away team in a neutral site. Weird sentence to say. I'll give it to New York. We've got the 2-7 New England Patriots at the 4-4 Chicago Bears. Give me Chicago on that one. They're going to want a comeback week after this past week. The 7-2 Buffalo Bills at the 4-5 Indianapolis Colts. I think Indiana's going to come out hot just because they were kind of embarrassed this past week, but I'm still going to give it to Buffalo. Again, there's a reason why I, as the number one Josh Allen hater in the country, just admitted to Josh Allen being the MVP of the league. Then we've got the 5-4 Denver Broncos at the 8-0 Kansas City Chiefs. Until Kansas City loses a game, I'm not going to bet against them. Give me Kansas City on that one. The 6-3 Atlanta Falcons at the 2-7 New Orleans Saints, who just fired their, I believe it was their offensive coordinator. I'm going to go with Atlanta on this one. Atlanta has their shit together, whereas the Saints have been in an absolute spiral in recent weeks. The 4-4 San Francisco 49ers versus the 4-5 Tampa Bay Bucks. I know this is in Tampa Bay, but Christian McCaffrey should be back this week. San Fran has been, staying afloat as best they can. They need a statement win. hate them having to say this, but I'm siding with San Francisco on this one. And more than anything, I really just need the Christian McCaffrey fantasy points, which normally if he has a big game, they win the game. So, yep, I'm going to go with San Fran on that one. The 6-2 Pittsburgh Steelers at the 7-2 Washington Commanders. Ooh, this is going to be a good game. This is going to be a really good game. I think despite it being in Washington, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on this simply because the defense in Pittsburgh is so stout. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a game where we see rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels struggle a little bit. I think it'll be a close one. I think it'll be a low-scoring one. I don't think that the Hail Mary is going to work against Pittsburgh, so I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Then we have the 6-2 Minnesota Vikings versus the 2-7 Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't give a shit that this is in Jacksonville. Jacksonville doesn't have a home field advantage to any degree. I'm going to go with Minnesota. Lock that one in. The 2-6 Tennessee Titans at the 5-3 Los Angeles Chargers, who have been heating up as of recent. I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one. Home field advantage, better team top to bottom. Tennessee's in a spiral right now. They're going to be a lottery pick. Give me Los Angeles in that. Can I skip over this one? The 6-2 Philadelphia Eagles at the 3-5 Dallas Cowboys, who will be without Dak Prescott. And I don't give a shit that we got Mingo. It don't mean a damn thing. Mingo, that is not a blockbuster trade, Jerry Jones. I'm not going to say give me Philadelphia, but I will say Dallas will lose this one. The 3-6 New York Jets versus the 5-4 Arizona Cardinals. I actually think that the Cardinals are going to lose this one. I'm going to go with the Jets on this one. I don't know why, other than I just have a hunch. Then we have, this is going to be the game of the week here. The 7-1 Detroit Lions at the 6-3 Houston Texans. I'm going to go with the Texans in this one simply because they need the bounce back win. They don't want to drop to 6-4. Not like it really matters in the AFC South, given, the Indianapolis Colts are 4-5 and are probably going to drop this week's upcoming game. But if you're Houston, there needs to be a little bit more of a sense of urgency. You want to prove that you can hang with the big dogs. You got to beat Detroit. And with it being in Houston and with the faith that I do have in D'Amico Ryans to game plan efficiently, I will go with Houston despite them not having Diggs. That takes us to the final game of the week. The Miami Dolphins, who are 2-6 against the Los Angeles Rams. And the Rams, who, have been getting their wide receivers back, have started to look like a competent football team. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams for this last one. So, pretty exciting stuff. Again, we have a betting sponsor, BetStamp, that y'all can place these bets with. Again, I am not responsible, nor is this pod responsible if you lose money on your parlays and your money lines. But if you win, oh boy, if you win, make sure to thank your favorite podcast host. Thanks so much for listening, everyone.
Well, I like school, and I like football, and I'm gonna keep doing them both because they make me feel good.